There are many ways to obtain new cats aside from the gacha system, whether it's monthly cats, advent drops, cyclone drops. You get a pretty wide variety of units to collect without needing to roll the gacha. Then we got purchasable cats. You don't beat stages or roll the gacha for it, rather you just purchase them with cat food. There are 13 purchasable units in total so far. Each will be unlocked as you progress through Empire of Cats. There's Ninja, Sumo, Samurai, Zombie, Cats in the Box, Boogie, Bondage, Dom, Kung Fu, Actress, Skirt, Panties, and Mister. I'm going to go through them one by one, ordering them from what part of the game should you start considering buying them. This means that you could buy them earlier than I recommend, but it would have much more of an impact until you reach a certain point of the game and might lose impact later on as you progress through the game. Now, without further ado, let's get started. The first unit I want to talk about is Ninja Cat. In my opinion, this one is the one that you should instantly buy the moment you unlocked him after clearing Empire of Cats Chapter 1 in Japan. This cat is an amazing steamroller throughout the entire EOC, having incredible early game stats, about 1.5 times stronger than Axe Cat. Instantly dumping all your XP in this unit will make farming treasures 10 times faster. As you progress through Stories of Legend, he gets less and less usage to be used on the field, and his true form really doesn't help him that much. Luckily for him, he has one of the most amount of combos in the game, 6 in totals across all forms. Some of his most notable combos are Enter the Ninja, Aerial Recon, Cool Japan, which all can be situationally great in late game scenario. Overall, Ninja is worth buying anywhere in the game, but he'll shine at the very most at EOC. Now the next unit I want to talk about is Boogie Cat, an extra meat shield to your arsenal which will be an immense help in Empire of Cats Chapter 3 Moon, or early into the future if you haven't got your hands on Crazed Cat and Crazed Tank. His role is really not much different than the basic cat. He has a pretty apparent downside though, which is his agonizingly slow speed. While this doesn't sound bad on paper, it's actually a massive hindrance when you take cat limit into account, as the slow speed means that he'll clock the limit very easily. His true form, Gata Wamigo, can be situationally helpful, though is also one of the least reliable units to count on. There are several situations where his speed problem can be negligible and would be somewhat of a decent extra help. Some examples are Mineral Treatment, Floor 38, and Cyclone levels in general. His low speed can also be used in interesting strategies, most notable at the Haunted One LDK and its clone Floor 27. Overall, a really helpful unit to have early game that may sometimes have its moments in late game, so kinda similar like Ninja. I would recommend buying it early game, or if you're past them then just buy them anyways, they're pretty cheap. Moving on, the next unit on the list is Cats in the Box, or Box Cat if I were to shorten it. Box Cat is a speedy unit that, unlike Cow Cat, relies their damage on a strong, infrequent hit rather than rapid attacking weak attacks. You can say that it's basically an early game version of Express Cat, which is also a speedy hitter that does a strong damage with low attack frequency. This, I believe, is one of the earliest instances of units that has a rebound mechanics, or at least it's what I believe the Taiwanese forum refers to this. Basically, this unit will always ready to attack immediately if they're interrupted by knockbacks. If after attacking this unit gets knocked back, it will immediately rush forward and attack again, hence the name Rebound. But anyways, back to Box Cats. The unit fills a unique role early game as a rush sniper or some sort, in where he can be used in long range enemy with decent timing such as Kamel and Masquerade. If your tankers aren't strong enough to hit long range enemies, then Box Cat's speed can compensate. Box Cat, however, isn't exactly strong. They're strong enough for early game, sure, around the early Stories of Legends chapter, but they won't be much help in late game. Their true form, Heavy Assault CAT, is also not helping in his case, as he only gets a slight range increase with no stat change and a somewhat unreliable chance to weaken black enemies. I would say though, if you want to buy them in early Stories of Legend, but this is completely optional. They won't be much of a use later on in the game, so it's not exactly the best investment. Right, moving on, I'm going to talk about 4 units now, namely Sumo, Samurai, Mister, and Zombie Cat. The reason why I grouped them all into one is because they're all combo units mostly. Sumo and Samurai is part of Cool Japan, which gives your unit an extra 15% damage. The combo is used alongside Ninja and Sushi Cat, which is a very helpful combo in rushing down stages or just stages in general that may require a little bit of oomph to pull off. Some examples are Dark Web, Tony Dialogue, Floor 30, etc. Mr. and Zombie are a part of Biohazard and Bony Bone combos, in which Zombie is part for both of them. Scalacat, which is Zombie's true form, is needed to activate Bony Bone. With Necromancer and the two of these, you can activate these two combos with only 3 slots. This gives you 2 Research Up Small combo. Each Research Up Small reduces the cooldown of your units by 26 frames or 0.87 seconds. So having both Biohazard and Bony Bones equipped reduces your unit's cooldown by 52 frames or 1.73 seconds, with 2 seconds being the shortest cooldown you can get. This is very helpful on units with cooldown around 4 seconds or slightly more. When using units like Cameraman, Sanzo, Ramen, Rover, and Jizzo, who has 4.2 seconds cooldown, this combo can make an immense difference in battle. And just for an extra information, there are only 4 research combo in the entire game, one requiring Kalissa and the other requiring Drone with 4 slots. Biohazard and Bony Bone combo is the most efficient out of them all. Outside of the combos, Sumo also may sometimes be used in some strategies. Their true form, Riceball Cat, does get some usage out of his anti-knockback ability despite his hefty cost and relatively low health for a tanker meat shield. Sometimes it's also used in restriction stages. It's most notable to be used in Black Hole in Cats of the Cosmos 1, Little Jamira Awaken, Saucy Scandal, and Floor 30. Mr. may also sometimes be used on certain restriction stages, as his true form is one of the fastest unit in 4-star restriction that is not Awakened Bahamut. His true form Hyper Mr. was also used as a Zammel Zombie Killer Sniper on 50 Degrees Hotter. Other than that, not much. Nevertheless, I'd say all of these 4 units are worth buying in mid-stories of Legend. The combos they provide can be an immense help that still has an effect all the way to the game. There's no true order in which to buy first, though I personally see more uses in the Bony Bone plus Biohazard combo. Another group of units that I'll recommend buying somewhere mid-game are Panties Cat, better known as Lollycat, Dom, and Kung Fu. But they're also optionals, not ones that I'd highly recommend, but can be decently worth buying anyways. Panties is probably one of the weakest link of the tree. I wouldn't recommend it that much. Panties has around the same stats as pre-true form Sexy Legs Cat, which is really not impressive. Stat-wise, it completely falls down mid-late game, and the true form Lollycat, while it grants area attack, still doesn't help much. However, Panties does have decent combos. Lingerie Special is a pretty nice worker-up combo that can be paired with Bouncing 4. Sweets is also a pretty nice go-to combo in certain Assassin Bear levels such as Twilight Poacher and Littering Coast. Lolly Fanciers is also somewhat decent when you're bringing Nyandom in a stage, as it can increase his slow duration. In the field, Lollycat's real use is only in Golden Guy, where its cheap spammable AoE attack can help clear the trolley bloggers without draining much cash. Other than that, I don't think there has been any legitimate use for Lollycat. As for Domcat, she's a pretty decent powerhouse in 4-star stages and is notable for being the main damager and tank in DNA and DHA. She also has some notable combos, such as Power of Darkness, which does extremely well for Professor Cat jobs, and Masquerade, which can be pretty helpful, especially when doing Kumi Cheese, as well as Chopper, which is a very neat attack-up combo for UKG owners. And finally, Kung Fu Cat. The priciest special cat to buy is a pretty interesting unit. He doesn't really work as a general attacker due to his high deploy cost combined with his relatively low range and relatively low health with only 1 knockback count. These all combined gives Kung Fu a very niche role in being a ranged one-shot unit that may be able to tank Pigeon Disable waves. He has decent one-hit damage capability, being able to one-shot certain peons at high enough levels like Dark Doge and Brawlos, which is great because having those peons rebound can be annoying, but his uses are pretty limited. Some of his notable uses are in Subterranean Stalker, Tiny Tails, Tiny Fist, and Floor 30. Not much of his combos are worth mentioning aside from Arm Day Every Day, which requires Tessalon and Beefcake, and is an overall great substitute for Eye of the Storm. These 3 cats, I would tell you to consider buying them, but I wouldn't recommend them too highly. They're great for what they are, but they're not as important as some others. If you want to, buy them somewhere mid-game or late game, it's fine. If you don't want to buy them, that's also fine. But remember that they can still help should you need them at one point. And now a skirt cap that evolves into true form Loincloth. Its first form is nothing special. Another weak legs clone like Panties Cat, but the true form increases his attack rate as well as giving him Barrier Breaker. Currently, Loincloth is the only unit in special rarity that have Barrier Breaker. But is this unit worth buying? Well, you have to buy this unit. No, I'm not saying you have to buy it because it's really good, but because there are stages that you literally cannot beat if you do not own this unit and isn't planning to spend cat food on God's Miracle every time you play the stage. There are 2 stages in Cats of the Cosmos 2 with a special only restriction that has Ultra Baba that can only be beaten if you have a barrier breaker. If you want to progress through Cats of the Cosmos 2, you have to own Loincloth, but this might change in the future if there are new ways to break the barrier aside from just using Loincloth. For now though, at 7.2, once you reach late game, you definitely want to own Loincloth in preparation of Cats of the Cosmos 2, which means you also have to make sure that you have Skirt Cat awakened, not only own. Aside from that, Loincloth is still a decent barrier breaker in general due to his range and low cooldown though. Well, right now I put him on a very high priority in late game, but should there be new ways to beat these stages without Loincloth, then I'd put him in a bit lower priority, but still buying it won't be a complete waste of cat food. Newsflash, update 7.3, Lil Macho Legs gains barrier breaker, 30% chance. I still think Loincloth is a better barrier breaker, although Little Macho Legs is a better unit in general. But I mean, Little Macho Legs has less range and less attack rate and less spammability, so take it as you will. That's it for the newsflash. Now we move on to the last 2. Let's go with Actress Cat first. Actress, which evolves into— oh my god, what the fuck is that? And its true form becomes Beefcake Cat. Frankly, this unit is basically an extremely weaker version of Paris. It's very weak as an attacker and doesn't have any ability to give him any reason to use. Cyborg Cat has literally around twice as much damage output than Beefcake, and there's just very little reason to ever use Beefcake, ever. However, if you own Tesla and Paslan, this unit can come in handy. Should you also own Kung Fu Cat, you can form a combo with Tesla, Kung Fu, Beefcake, and Titan to get Arms Day every day, which is something that I already mentioned before, which is a very slot-effective defense up combo with good units chunked into the combo. Other than that, however, I would not recommend buying Actress Cat at all. Even if you don't have Paris, I still wouldn't recommend it. And finally, the last unit in the list is Bondage Cat. Don't buy this unit. Don't buy it. Don't buy it. It has bad stats, bad range, irrelevant ability to be placed on this unit, bad cost, bad combos, and it's just all around useless. It has never ever been used in any legitimate strategy, and unless Ponus for some reason decided to make a red enemies with waves and teleport, I see not a single time where one would ever use Bondage Cat legitimately. He's not even worth buying for user rank. He's just that bad. His only combo is cannon damage up combo. It is one of the most useless combo in the game. Oh, what's that? You need cannon up for False Resurrection 2 and 3 stars? Not anymore. They nerfed the Assassin Bear so that you can kill the bears without combo. Gets it back to belonging in the trash. So to sum it up, here's a chart on when it's recommended to buy a special cat and how much I recommend them. Ninja's always recommended to buy for his amazing performance in early game as well as a great deal of combo. Boogie's recommended for EOC 3 and is somewhat of a decent general meat shield. Boxcat is only decent for early SOL but won't really be useful in the rest of the game. Sumo and Samurai is great for Cool Japan. Zombie and Mister is highly recommended for Bony Bones and Biohazard. Panties, Dom, and Kung Fu is somewhat recommended for minor help here and there. Loincloth is currently very much needed for Cats of the Cosmos 2 and can help against Barrier and Legend stages. Actress isn't recommended unless you own Tessalon and Kung Fu. And that's it, we didn't leave any unit behind. Okay, see ya.